Got it. So we were founded in 2013, and we were founded actually here in Raleigh. And what it was from a group of product managers who were working with their organizations to understand a little bit about, what was our background? Like, what was it that our customers needed? They noticed that their analytics platform wasn't really helping their software groups understand their users, their behaviors, where they were engaging, what areas were lacking. They didn't have the analytics and feedback to do that. So they decided to make Pendo. And we've grown a lot since then, but the goal has always been to help companies create software that people love and enjoy using. We started with 3 employees. Now we're over 700. We're looking to be 800 by the end of the year. We now have 8 offices around the world. Headquarters is in downtown, our brand new building that's going up. San Francisco, New York. Herzliya, which is outside of Tel Aviv, Israel, is a company that we acquired. We have Tokyo, which we're growing out. Sheffield and London are in the UK. That are some of our second largest offices through acquisitions. And then we just recently started hiring in Australia. So we're growing out our presence there with our organizations. But from a financials perspective, we are still in that startup phase. We just had our Series F funding. So we've gone all the way from A to E and just had our F. We raised $150 million from investors, which is amazing. And we are currently at a $2.6 billion valuation if we were to go public right now. And that is the goal within the next few years. So Pendo as a whole, as I mentioned, is to elevate the world's experience with software. When we started as a company, we really wanted to provide a better user experience for our customers. And that's been our goal as a company for years. And this is really the bread and butter of what we do as our platform. We're one integrated cloud platform. It's what we call our core product. You'll see the different areas that we have there. Customers can mix and match depending on their needs, but I'll go through these overall. But insights, so analytics that we have. So what are our users doing through their journey on a platform? And I always like to use an example. So Airbnb, for example, or OpenTable, how are users adopting that platform? Where are they getting stuck? Where are they clicking out? We also use surveys to capture how users are feeling about their experience on the platform. So more of that qualitative data, guidance, onboarding and messaging to help them provide a better user experience, feedback as well, and then a roadmap of how to use the product, and kind of our core areas. And so right now, as we've seen as a company and as technology has grown, they have an expectation of when they use an application or a platform. And this is what they've focused on, what users expect and what they'll get when they incorporate Pendo. But really, as I mentioned, the goal has been always to provide a great experience with software. And it's always, personalized. Wanting to improve our experience is a new standard. We have moved to mobile with our digital adoption, which has been amazing. We're looking at growing out kind of our mobile Pendo product, but it's really providing a better experience. So if you think of, Amazon, Peloton, Dunkin' Donuts, DD Perks, that we try to provide a better product experience for our customers. So what that means is Pendo helps you bridge the experience gap. So with the only complete platform for customers and employees. So when you think about the customer side, that's our core product. And then for employees, it's that digital adoption side. So how are they adopting? How are they onboarding? Are they understanding? We use it internally as well to help drive kind of that customer experience. And when you think about our platform, we have 2 big areas. So Engage is our core product. So better product experience for our customers. So this is more on the customer facing side. So when we're using a tool like, as I mentioned, Airbnb or OpenTable or one of those, that's more the customer feedback side. And then we just introduced our new product, Digital Adoption, which is for the only employee side. So how are they incorporating Pendo? How are they using Pendo? Is the onboarding easy? Are they able to use the analytics that they need to And Pendo is a software as a service product, and it's embedded within the products and technology within the company. As you can see, there's crossovers. So we have the analytics, the in-app guides, and the feedback, but think of it as engage, which is the customer side, and then adopt, which is more of the employee side. And just going through some of our customers, we integrate within all of your systems. So when you think about different ones that you may use internally, Zendesk, Salesforce, Looker, Slack, Jira, and Confluence for some of your applications that you use internally, we use Pendo to provide that onboarding experience and connect customers and tools. So we use this a lot internally. We use Pendo as Pendo, just because, we practice what we preach, but it can be integrated within all of your internal systems as well. It doesn't have to be an external facing. And this is just highlighting some of our customers. We have a lot. We have over 1,500 customers that they use us. So some of the big names you might see on here are Continental Tires, E-Trade. We've also Enterprise Rent-A-Car is one that we have. And then, Rail Inc., Cisco, lots of ADP, Adobe. So lots of different customers across different industries, different sizes. So anything from enterprise to public companies, smaller ones, private companies. It's really across the board. So Pendo really has no boundaries. We don't really have any competitors either. So the sky's the limit from us for a business perspective. And we spend a lot of time talking about this. So Pendo as a company, we're really big on our core values. We respect our lives outside of work. We're direct and transparent with our feedback, our maniacal focus on the customer. We're really huge bias to act, show me the data, act like owners, and win together. This is really our bread and butter, and this is our foundation for how we treat our customers and also each other internally. We reviewed these every single year. We look for these within the interview process for internships and new college grad roles. But this is really our driving force in how we show up day to day for each other and for our customers. My favorites are ones I always like to remember is respecting our lives outside of work. Because we do span across multiple time zones, we're flexible with our schedules. We have unlimited PTO. If you need to take a day, you can definitely do that, or if you need to take a morning off. Another one is be direct and transparent. Everyone's calendars are public. Like if I wanted to go to our CEOs or chief technology officers' calendars, they're public. I can see it. And that really ties back to our core values. And then win together. We're always willing to help each other whenever we can. We jump in when we need to, when people are out. But then at the end of the quarter, we're always chipping in, to talk to customers if we need to help where we need to. I know from a volunteer perspective, everyone is willing to jump in and wants to go to campus and participate. So I would say those three are probably my three favorite core values that we have. And I like to highlight this. It shows our culture and our core values. So on the bottom left, you'll see our brand new office. If you've been in downtown Raleigh, you'll see it's right on the intersection of Dawson and Hillsborough Street, across from the Kimball Law School. We're going to have the top 5 floors, which is going to be amazing. And we're going to provide a great, summer internship experience for new college grad experience. We're going to have, our own coffee shop with our own baristas who will know your order off the top of their head whenever you come in. We're going to have a speakeasy in the office. You'll see at the bottom right at the construction site, the Pendo pizza oven, which we had a huge celebration about that got flown in. The top right photo, you'll also see a photo from last year's company kickoff. So every February we do a company kickoff, and this was from 2019, I believe. And this was in Charlotte, actually. They went to Charlotte and they did it at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And you'll see with the car and all the employees. So a great opportunity to kind of network, and what we do is showcase how we are as a company and winning together and a strong company culture. In the middle is what we recently had. So we have our Pendemonium, as we call it, every October, which is the anniversary of when Pendo was founded. and it is our user conference. So it's our huge user conference where we have people come in and learn about what we've been working on, our new features we're rolling out. Obviously with COVID, we did it outside this year at Red Hat Amphitheater. And it was a really great experience. It was a one-day event. We had Lola Jones come and do the keynote speaker. We had the CEO and founder of Ring come as well. Ben Fold performed, and then we had a karaoke party after on the stage, which was a lot of fun. But it showcases our company culture. We're very laid back. We're, whatever you want, all these great events, lots of pink. I hope you like the color pink because you'll have a lot of it. But it really showcases how we win together as a company. And then just talking about our opportunities. So we do have summer internships that range from engineering, so software, sales, marketing, customer success, finance, product design. And those are 8 to 10 weeks. They are paid, so you get paid hourly. You're working about 35 to 40 hours a week. And I'll talk a little bit more about the real world experience, but we have Ask Me Anything sessions with Todd, our CEO, and Cameron, who's our VP of product design, different networking events. You can get involved in some of the affinity groups. We have a mentorship program. We have intern outings. We did a murder mystery last year. But then going back to the real world experience, we don't like to give our interns busy work. Like we assign them things that are actually going to impact the business. And then at the end of the summer, they presented what they've been working on to the whole company. And your team is on, is on the call, they're cheering you on, telling you good job, enjoyed having you this summer. So we really try to provide an impactful and supportive environment for you during your summer internship. And then we also have some full-time opportunities. So sales development representatives, so working within our sales organization and our revenue group, focused really around how we drive new business, outbound and inbound calls, but really helping understand that Pendo product and getting that foundation from a sales perspective. And then we also have front-end engineers and back-end engineers. And for all three of these roles, looking at, January starts, so December graduates and May graduates as well. And then there's the Pendo.io career site. I know that was a lot, but I'll stop for questions. Does Kelvin or Jordan, do you have any questions?
So you go to the website that you just showed previously to apply for?
Yeah, and Kelvin, I will. Yeah, and what I'll do is I will put this in the chat. Let's see, we actually have a link that we are using to collect information. So let me go ahead and get that for you.
And another question I had is how long do they tell you until you do get the internship? Do you know? Or
yeah, so we try to do it in about two to 3 weeks is going through our process. It does depend on kind of the role and things like that, but the goal is 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, because I'm a freshman and my major is accounting, and I don't really have any. I want to get experience doing it, but I haven't been in the classes to really start getting into auditing and all that stuff yet. So I was just asking about, what do you think it's still possible for me to get into the internship without knowing some of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely doesn't hurt to apply and get that experience. I think the sooner you start, the better. Just from my experience working in university, it seems to be getting earlier and earlier when people are starting to be recruited. So I think it's a great time as a first year to start building out kind of your experience. And, I know I'm happy to help you with that in your resume. I know, Professor Williams is as well. And we can definitely, kind of talk about that a little bit too.
And I also just want to champion for the transferability of skill sets that you'll get. I mean, it's great that, obviously, Kelvin, you're an accounting student, but just to have the corporate experience, regardless of what the, technical space is, I think is important. So even, if it's not necessarily, because I'm sure there's a business operations part of Pendo as well. You guys are headquartered in Raleigh?
Yep.
So your business operations are in Raleigh, right? So I think that's great to have that exposure. But it seems to me like you guys have a ton of different types of opportunities that are available that you can kind of get your feet wet and see what you like, what you don't like, that kind of thing to explore those. And we also have Jaden, who just joined us. I believe Jaden joined us, who is the president of our American Marketing Association. He is a junior marketing student. I am a big proponent of sales for marketing, just to FYI, because I did sales for about 5 years. And I think it's important to have that experience as well. So do you want to talk a little bit about just the sales aspect of Pendo and kind of what is required? Are you, hey Jaden, how does that whole thing work? Are you selling to your client, cold selling? Are you selling to its already established clients? What are you doing?
Yeah, so our sales program, it's one that's kind of at the bread and butter of who we are. As a rapidly growing company, sales is great. We have a very supportive sales development group. Michelle has been in the industry for 10 years, and the sales team, you're going to learn a lot, but it's a mix depending on where you are. It's inbound or outbound. Usually everyone starts inbound, just so that way they can kind of understand. So inbound is like incoming calls about the organization before you go out and learn. So ideally you're in a sales development representative role to learn about Pendo, the products, refine some of, just kind of the elevator pitch and how you learn. And then you move into, a more senior role, and then potentially account executive within a year and a half, then account manager, things like that. But it is a great opportunity to learn about Pendo and our products, get some customer facing time, have an amazing support system. I will say one thing about our sales organization is they love to have fun. I'm not going to lie, I don't work in sales, but I love being the end of the quarter because
that's why I joined sales.
Yeah. Everyone's here. There's music, there's food every day. Like there's pink everything. There's champagne. Like it's so much, like it's just a really great team environment. And the sales team, they recruit a lot of sales development representatives. It's a growing group. So you will have a cohort and a group that's really supportive. And I think with our sales development representatives, we don't necessarily look for someone who majored in sales or has that passion for it, like has that drive and that motivation to want to go out and, bias to act, as I mentioned, is one of our core values. So really lives that and has that, like is willing to, understand some days are a little bit harder, but it's not going to get you down, and you're gonna get back up. It's kind of that fight or flight mode, and you're gonna fight type thing. So
I see Jaden has a question in chat. Does Pendo offer any spring internship programs? I think he wasn't here when you were talking about the internships.
Yeah, so we don't have spring internships right now. It is something we are looking into, but our internships right now are summer. For our summer internships, we are looking at beginning of June to beginning of August, about 35, 40 hours a week. They are paid pretty well, and they're in Raleigh. So we are looking at what it looks like to come back to the office and things like that, obviously monitoring what's going on in the world and the environment. But ideally it'll be in some capacity where you'll be able to come into the office and network and get to meet your team. Molly, anything you want to add or any insights?
No, I don't think so. You covered a lot. A lot of good information. I'll just add, personally, I'm coming from higher ed to Pendo. I just hit my 3 months. I think the caliber of people that work here is the bar is so high. Everyone is so talented and genuinely loves being at Pendo and is passionate about the product. So no matter what, team or organization you join within Pendo, you'd be working with an all-star group. And then something you mentioned earlier, I guess, about you know, even if you join like accounting team, like you said, we work so cross-functionally that you really would get your hands in all areas of the business, especially in an internship, right? Like we know how important it is to kind of explore careers, and that's the point of an internship from the student side. So yes, you would be on a team, but you would also have direct access to everyone else. Yeah, so truly a wonderful place to be. I think there was another question. What are some skills that students can gain now in undergrad that will help us in the corporate world and at Pendo? That's a great question. My like large scale advice would be use all the resources you have access to on campus. You know, this organization is a great opportunity, and definitely use, you know, Professor Williams as a resource. Seek out, and like, you know, the freshmen on this call, you are starting like just in time. Like Ryan mentioned, it's starting earlier and earlier. I remember when I was in school, you know, not everyone had internships. Now I think you really need them to graduate and be competitive in the market. So, and then also don't, and I'll get off my high horse after this, but don't silo yourself to one specific position or career. I would definitely spend some time exploring. And then that way, once you get into an interview or, you know, you're ready for your first job, you'll be confident to say, like, this is what I want to do. I've had X experiences to get me here. So yeah, moral of the story, just take advantage of all the opportunities on campus. You're on mute, Ryan.
I will say that, you know, to Molly's point, and, you know, Professor Williams, the transferable skills are super big. You know, we don't have a minimum GPA requirement. We don't expect you to be a certain major. It's just about who you are as a you know, an individual, and what you could bring to the table. And if you represent our core values, you know, a lot of the stuff we can teach you, you know, but it's really, you know, how you communicate, how you work cross-functionally, collaboratively, how you know, can sell yourself. But I think Molly makes a good point, is, you know, continue to use the resources that you have on campus.
Also, like, feel free to stay in touch with people like Ryan and myself, right? Like, we'll always respond to messages on LinkedIn. You know, if you want to like check in, ask about opportunities in the future, or have someone peek at your resume, like Ryan said. I think we both have like a wealth of experience in that. And, you know, that's the kind of stuff we are looking forward to doing in the future as well.
Yeah. And I put a form in the chat. If you want to put in your information, I'll follow up with you. And we work closely with like our sales development, our SDR, or we call them SDRs, recruiter for our interns and new college grads. So she may reach out to you to set up some time to just understand your background, if SDR may be something you want to do.
I love that. So in terms of where you see the bulk of your hiring, are you saying that it's primarily in sales, or is it probably equal part sales and software engineers? Like, where are you guys in? Look, what are you looking for right now?
Yeah, I would say those are our two biggest. We do have some one-offs, like in marketing. We have a marketing operations one, some in customer success. But I would say those are probably our two biggest buckets, because we're constantly hiring for those. In engineering, so software is our biggest, but then for sales, you know, we're always hiring more salespeople, and you know, looking at those potential candidates to join us throughout the year. So I would say definitely those are our two biggest.
And I like to speak to that. I think it'll continue to be like that for a little while, right? Our product is truly like great, and like the customers love it. So we're always bringing on more people, but then on the back end, we need people to continue to build out that product, right? So because we're in such a growth stage, I see that being the case for the next, you know, while.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotcha. Any other questions from the students on the call?
Other than I'm excited. I already put in my application, so I'm like all on board part of this.
I love it. Thanks, Kelvin.
Yeah.
Well, you guys had me too at the baristas inside the
I'm
in
excited.
The
like
oven, what?
Right, Jaden. I know.
It'll be so nice to like be able to show you hopefully in the spring, right?
Yes,
the building will like sell itself. It'll make our jobs easier.
I can imagine. Yes, absolutely.
Well, I mean, even right now, like, I mean, me and Molly were talking yesterday, like you put in like a sleep pod, we won't even need to leave.
Yeah, to go home. I mean, but I love that. And I think that is really where, corporate and employment is headed. And I'm so thankful for that too, because there's such a great appreciation for the flexibility of work life. And, if anything, the pandemic has demonstrated to us is that, in many cases, we do way more work, when we have that flexibility than when we don't. So, I think that's great that they understand that and they're working to ensure that you have an environment that's like that.
It's nice to be at a place where you feel like appreciated as an employee too, right? That they like care about your like well-being. So
absolutely. And that's important. That's incredibly important. So I'm glad that you said that, and that Pendo does that. So
well, and that's one of the things that I've loved being here is that, out of all the core values, that's our first one: respect each other's lives outside of work, which I think speaks a lot to who we are as a company and how we value people. But then also just, listening to our CEO Todd as we look at how we expand across multiple continents really at this point, and offices, he's even said, because it comes up, how are you going to keep this culture of, free food and snacks and cold brew and all these great things? And he's like, and he said, I don't want to lose that just to get bigger. He's like, I don't want to lose who we are just so we can expand, which I think speaks a lot to what we value as a company. And it's not the money and it's not all of that. It's the people and the culture and how we show up every day for each other, which is important.
I love it. It's so important.
Yeah.
Well, good enough. Well, listen, we thank you for sharing with us. I'm excited. I know that you have 2, 3 with Jordan had to leave. She has class students who are super excited, and we'll spread the word. So that's awesome. Part of our mission as well, is to make sure we get the word out there, and then we will. Jaden, Jaden's my go-to for everything. So Jaden, we'll talk about planning something in the spring where we can come and maybe get some group of students together and tour the facility. So let's definitely keep that let's work on that date for sure.
That'd be great.
Awesome. I would love that.
Cool. Well, great. Well, thank you again. And before we depart, I want to make room for any other questions.
Any last ones?
Okay, if not, thank you so much. We'll talk to you very soon.
Thank you so much.
Have a good one.
Bye,
Jaden. Bye, Kelvin.
Take care. Alrighty.
All right, y'all have a nice day.
You too.
Y'all have a nice day.
You too. Bye-bye.